Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Friday morning safety meeting. Today is Friday, May 23rd, 2025. We'd like to welcome everybody that's here in Springfield, at Pittston, Salt Lake City. If you're out there listening to us on one of our social media networks, welcome. If you're joining us later on, driving, asleep right now, listening to this later today, later tonight, we want to welcome you also. So with me up here is Mr. Dave White, also from the safety department. Good morning, Dave.
Morning, John. Man, what a beautiful morning we got going here.
You know, it is very pretty outside today in Springfield, and it looks like this might be the last day of that. It looks like we've got like 6 straight days of rain after this, so more spring weather coming our way. But, you know, first, I see we've got kind of a light crowd here in Springfield. Everybody's out there enjoying their breakfast, so let's give John Blansett and his team here in Springfield, the teams at Salt Lake and Pittston, a round of applause for feeding everybody this morning. Colby, plug your ears, but they had a biscuit and gravy casserole over here that I hope there's some left whenever we're done this morning.
I saw that. That did look pretty tasty. So our driver health and fitness, hopefully they're too busy talking off to the side. So
they're not paying attention. So, you know, the next thing that I want to do is, we just saw a gentleman walk through here, lady walk through here with the yellow vest on. We like to welcome all of our new associates every week. So if this is your first week here at Prime, whether you're coming in with a permit, your CDL, an A-seat experienced driver, if this is your first week here and you're one of the terminals, please stand up and let us welcome you to the family. There we go. We got a few, you know, probably a little bit lighter crowd this week because of the holiday weekend coming up, but we want to welcome you. Thank you for choosing Prime. We know that you're the best of the best because we are pretty strict as far as screening folks to come on here. So, you know, these badges that you have around your neck, they will get you into all the doors, and we highly encourage you to use them. Build that relationship with your fleet manager, your log associate, your payroll associate, your road assist advisor. Even come talk to Dave and I down in the safety department. We'll help you out. We'll answer any question you have, and if we can't, we'll get you in front of somebody that can. So how are you doing this morning?
Doing good. Yeah, we're coming up on a very important weekend, you know, Memorial Day, and that's Monday. We remember all those that have fallen before us, had this great country and defended it. And very, so for some people, it's an emotional holiday. And, you know, we got some, I know I have some loved ones that we lost in the wars in the past, and it's that time to give, you know, remember them and all that. But those of all of our drivers out there driving, running down the road, thank you for what you do. Thank you for working over the weekend. You know, these weekends, Johnny, get a little dangerous. More families out driving, going to see families, or maybe taking some vacations or whatever it may be. And safe driving isn't on their minds. It's, you know, they're worried about getting from point A to point B as quickly as possible. So, you know, it's kind of our responsibility. One of them is watch out for other motorists out there. So be careful if you're out there running. We appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you for working over a holiday weekend. As you know, trucking goes 365, 24, 7 days a week, you know, 24 hours, 7 days a week. And it's a, you know, this industry is for all the new folks out there. You know, this would be a good awakening for you that, you know, trucking doesn't sleep during holidays, and you remember that many times you had to work in-house for holidays too. You'd spent your weekends doing this. So, but appreciate everybody for doing that and making us the best company out there. So, what do you got?
Yeah, you know, let's add on a little bit to that. I mentioned that we're getting ready to have about 5 or 6 days of rain here in a row. You know, and that looks like a pretty common theme across the whole state of Missouri. And I haven't, you know, done my due diligence and looked across the other 47 states, but, you know, there's going to be a lot of rain out there this weekend with the increased traffic that Dave was talking about. So make sure that we're really watching our speeds for the conditions that you're driving in, and really watch the following distance, okay? That'll be of the utmost importance out there on the road, you know, between now and actually the end of the summer. You know, you're going to have increased traffic from here on out. All the kids are out of school. Vacations are starting. I know that I'm getting ready to take one with my son who just got out of school. So, you know, let's watch out for those non-professional drivers out there. Let's give them plenty of room, and let's make sure that we're controlling our speeds for the conditions we're in.
And that's an important point you made there. You know, the kids getting out of high school. My son's 17, going to be a senior this next year. He's got another year left, but he'll be out there come Tuesday going to start his new job, and weed eating and all that up here at Prime. But, hopefully, I've given him a lot of instruction when he's going from Republic, Missouri up here to Prime, how to drive out on the interstates. But sometimes he will make a mistake because he is inexperienced. And that's where we, in the trucking industry, try to help out and watch out for those inexperienced drivers and stay away from them. And he does a great job driving, and I trust him. But once again, John, sometimes that inexperience, we've only been driving for a year or two, like he has. He does make some mistakes, and thank goodness he hasn't had any big ones. So that's the thing. So no tickets. That helps mom and dad on the old insurance.
Even better, absolutely. All right, well, let's bring up our driver health and fitness this morning. We're going to bring up Colby and Rachel. We're lucky enough to have both of them this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? So real quick, before you go anywhere, come here. We're always listening, by the way. So you're talking about that breakfast? Real question, though, and this is what I love about Rachel. So, Rachel, what was it that you were talking about, the food? What was it?
It was a biscuit and gravy casserole.
Okay, so I always say sometimes you got to, quote unquote, eat the cake, right? So in that instance, Rachel, is there something that can make it not as damaging? Because I love when you talk to drivers all the time. It's like, hey, sometimes you deserve a warm meal at any time you want. And it's just never going to be good. What can I do maybe so appreciate that. What is something he could do if he really wanted to eat it no matter what?
So I would say probably try to not drink anything with calories with that, because that's a pretty calorie dense meal, right? So try to have something that's just calorie free as your drink option. And then maybe if you can, try to have a little bit of just protein in front of that. So maybe get a fried egg or just scrambled eggs, have that first, and then move into that casserole.
Look at that. See, John, there you go. See? Okay, so this month, I appreciate you having us up here. So again, Colby with Driver Health and Fitness. Rachel, again, she's a dietitian. This is Mental Health Awareness Month. We always want to give you guys resources and things. A lot of times it's exercise and nutrition based. If you guys don't mind, if you'll pull up the website. There's a couple of things we talked about, and then we want to highlight is some resources. In this instance, it would be like self-tests or things that make you aware. There's a couple things out there. So Mental Health America is one website that they actually have right here. A bunch of different tests. We put this up here so you guys have it. It doesn't have to be today, of course, but when you see this again, you can maybe go to the website, look at some resources of the things you can take a look at. There's another one locally. If you go to the next page right there is Mental Health 417. Obviously, it's very specific to Springfield as far as if you want to get in contact with somebody. But a lot of there, if you go in there in the next page as well, also is an organization that I think has a lot of good resources as well. But it's just called Hey Man, You Good. And you can literally go there, click on a couple things, give you some ideas of things to look at. Maybe, like I said, the testing is one good way to look at it. But just be resourceful. And this is something that you'll probably see some more from us as well. But we just want to make sure we put it out there in front of you guys.
Yeah. And on the group call that we had yesterday, we talked about, touching in on depression and anxiety. And so just seeing if you feel like you are struggling with that and you need help, you can go to those resources as a way to find, help and find ways to help
Absolutely.
out.
So what else? This is awesome information. What else do we have going on right now?
Here in the next 2 weeks, we're going to start another Fit in 15 weight loss competition. So it's not just about the weight loss. That's not just the total competition. It's about points that you get throughout the program, as well as the weight loss. And that is going to be a solo version. We did a team version this year, and it went great. And yeah, we're going to have prizes with that. And that is going to start on June 6th.
Yep. So we'll open on June 6th. It'll go live June 9th, which will be a Monday. But the fun part about it is we got a lot of feedback this time. We had it with teams, and I was like, man, why don't we just do another one? And because it's just the prime way of doing things is, what, we had great success. We got good insight. Let's do it again. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to show you how to do it. We'll
send it out on the Prime app.
Yeah, absolutely will. So if you guys have any questions, we're here. Obviously, all of our trainers, other locations are there as well if you can help you in any way. So, all right.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Great job. We'll get that protein, Colby. Don't worry, buddy. We're good.
That's right. Driver health and fitness is of the utmost importance here at Prime. So if you guys have not taken advantage of Colby and Rachel's knowledge and services, I really encourage you to do so. Reach out to them if you're out there on the road. If you're here in Springfield right now or coming in here, they sit right up here, right in the back hallway upstairs, directly above where we're at here in the cafeteria. So please take advantage of those services up there.
Another great service we have is a Happy Spine Chiropractic Clinic. So this morning we're fortunate to have Dr. Marcel Popa here with us. And so come on up, Dr. Popa. Great to have you this morning. And you guys haven't had an adjustment before. I've been down there a few times. Does a wonderful job. So good morning.
Morning, everybody. So just a few things. I'm still here in the basement next to the elevator. Just going to talk about the most common problem, pain that I see with drivers, and that is low back pain. And why? Well, first of all, you guys sit a lot. There's a lot of sitting. So when you sit, it increases your pressure, the pressure on your spine by 90% versus when you stand. So you guys sit a lot, you do that a lot. It increases the pressure on your spine. So my recommendation to all the drivers, try to get adjusted every 2 or 3 months if you can. And you don't have to come see me. You can go see your chiropractor back home. Try to get adjusted for maintenance. You don't have to wait until you're in pain. Reason number 2, vibration. Vibration from the engine, from the roads. Your muscles become so fatigued from all the vibrations. Number 3, lack of movement. You can't really run around the truck, right? And so get adjusted as much as you can. Number 4, posture, bad posture. So make sure that you guys maintain a good posture while in the truck. I just checked with the store here. They have good back supports. The purple pillow for the back, for the low back. They have some nice cushions too, seat cushions, different sizes. Might want to go check those out. And then number 5, sleeping. It's really probably not the best. You probably don't have a king size bed in your truck, right? And so you sleep when you can, you sleep how you can. And so it's really not the most comfortable positions probably. So my recommendation to you guys, try to get adjusted as much as you can. I'm here for you guys. The national average for first-time chiropractic visit is $160. The national average for a follow-up visit is $81. You know how much you pay here? $30. You know why? Because these guys subsidize. Mr. Lowe is helping you guys out. I'm not employed by Prime. I'm an independent contractor. I don't report any of your problems. I've heard people say, I'm not going to the chiropractor because then, you know, he's going to tell Prime about my back issues. I don't. Mr. Lowe got me here and he's subsidizing. He's losing money with me just for you guys. He wants to take care of you guys. So thank you, Mr. Lowe. Thank you, Mr. Whitkey. You guys are amazing. I mean, oh, I see the president there too. Thank you. You guys are amazing. I am blessed to be here. I love it. It's probably the best company I've worked with. Where do you see people losing money with the service and then still keeping me around for you guys? It's incredible. And so help me out and I'll help you guys out. Come see me downstairs. It's only $30. You can pay with your badge or cash. I don't take credit cards, but you can book online. There's a link from your app somewhere. I don't have the app, but there's a link from your app. There's the website everywhere, chiroappprime.com. Literally takes 20 seconds to book an appointment. I'm telling you, it's going to help you. This is the secrets to longevity when it comes to driving. If you want to do this for a little bit, get adjusted, okay? So don't wait until you're in pain. If you wait until you're in pain, it might take a few visits for me to get you back. But if you come in for maintenance, that's the best way to do it, okay? Any questions, anybody?
I got a question real quick. How many of you have been to a chiropractor out here? Raise your hands. How many of you have not? Any of you afraid? Come on, Kevin. I know you got to say something, man. You're always talking. I know he's feeding, but hey, are you afraid to go to a chiropractor? You're not? Okay, you just prefer not to? Okay.
Now, if you had a bad experience with the chiropractor, hey, listen, just come see me, man. I don't care if you have a surgery. If you have a spine, you're a candidate for an adjustment. There's so many ways I can adjust. There's different techniques I can use. You know, if you prefer not to be popped, I can do that. It's fine. The youngest patient I've seen was a couple days old, and the oldest one is 101. So I can adjust you based on your size, shape. It's not a problem, but I'm telling you, if you got a spine, you need to get adjusted.
Go ahead. Quick
Yeah.
question, Colby.
Yeah, no, I want to comment on that too. You and I talk a lot too. So obviously Colby in the driver health and fitness, we talk about like taking care of your spine. It's not just about the adjustment, right? Having a conversation with you, it's not literally about quote unquote the pop. It's literally about other things, right? So what other things down there you do besides just the adjustment, right? Because you said, maybe that's not my thing. Maybe it isn't the adjustment or the popping. What else can I do that could add, that could take off stress or something like that?
So good questions. For example, I told you guys about the stress, the fatigue, all the tension that you're having in the back. The first thing that I do when you come in, I do a little bit of muscle work. I'm not your regular chiropractor where you can go in and out and then I'll see you in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. I try, what I want to do is I do everything so you can keep your adjustment. So you come in, I do a little bit of muscle work on you to loosen you up. We stretch you. I have a table that stretches you out, decompressing you. It's the best thing you could do for someone that sits a lot. And then I have a traction table or like a roller table where you lay on for about 10 minutes. I can do electrical stimulation on you. I can tape you. There's so many stuff that I do in the office. This is really not the type of, if you've been to the Joint Chiropractic, in and out, this is more than that. And it's just $30. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
All right. Any questions for Dr. Popa this morning? Nothing? Okay, well, he'll be around. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
You got
I
three
just
more?
wanted to say thank you to all the drivers. You guys are amazing.
Yeah, he'll be around maybe a little bit after me, but if not, go downstairs. You can go down and talk to him. Just step in and ask him if you got questions or whatever it may be. Hey, that's what he's here for, to help us out. So does a great job. I'll be honest, before I went to you, I was a little
He
bit
was
afraid.
skeptical.
I was very
No.
skeptical.
And now he's a regular.
I remember first time you were up here, you asked, hey, how many of you are afraid of going or never been? And I raised my hand and he kind of said, Dave, you've never been? I said, no. Why is that? Well, I'm a little bit skeptic, but now I go back to him and see him about every 2 or 3 months. And there is a difference when you're done, when he's done with you, you feel it. And it feels a lot better than what I was before. And, I'm a believer, you gotta step up, and some things we gotta try, and it's harder when we get older in life. We get set in our ways sometimes, and I'm one of those, but he does a great job here, and we're glad to have him, and along with the other medical people downstairs. It's great to have you here, and hopefully you stay here a long time with us.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, Dr. Pope. Give him a round of applause. Good job. So, John, the question to you: have you been downstairs to see Dr. Popa?
I've absolutely been downstairs to see Dr. Popa numerous
The answer to
times.
that one was, go
He
ahead.
does a great job. I bring other family members in here. It's not just a service for in-house and your drivers. Bring your family in; they get the same price. It's a great deal. And if you've noticed, our first two speakers up here this morning are talking about health. So we truly believe that a healthy driver is a happy driver and a safer driver. So if you haven't started that journey to get on track to take care of your health, here are the resources available. Please reach out to them and take advantage of it.
All right, let's take this meeting out. We'll go out east, out to Pittston, Pennsylvania. Do we have Rick and Richard out there this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning. How y'all doing down there?
Hey, we're doing fine. How about you guys?
Hey, you guys are about to have 6 days worth of rain. I think we just got done with 6 days worth of rain. It's been nothing but miserable rain all week here. So great class though this week. We had a great class in orientation. A lot of guys in here working on their pre-trips, working down the pad, trying to get that license. So yeah, we're moving and changing.
Good to hear. Richard, any update from you?
I don't have a lot of terminal updates. Still the things going on at the training pad. Again, I'd mentioned last meeting that when we start the construction down there, I'll be putting messages out to the trucks, especially for you guys that are instructors, to make sure that you guys understand what's going on down there and what anything that might impede pad time or anything like that. Aside from that, I do want to give a shout out. We do have somebody that is having a prime anniversary, and it is their 30 years at Prime. I mean, that is insane. So Lisa, she's going to moan at me after this because she's not someone that wants the spotlight. And, you know, that's what's crazy. Lisa LaCosta has been with us for 30 years, and she's always doing so many things behind the scenes, you know, never ask for the credit. She's the one that's, you know, organizing events for us up here. She travels back to Springfield, travels out to Salt Lake City, you know, and she does an amazing job for us. And she's a huge support for me up here in operations. So thank you, Lisa, for everything that you do. And if you guys can give her one more round of applause.
Hey, congratulations, Lisa. We see you sitting over there. Give a big wave to the camera for us. All right. Well, Rick and Richard, if you guys have any questions, anybody there has any questions, you know, I see a lot of yellow vests up there and purple folders, and that's great. We love to see that. So please get a mic in front of somebody and jump in at any time.
Thanks, guys.
We appreciate y'all. Thank you.
All right. I think that we're good to go out to Salt Lake City. So let's go out west this morning. I think we've got Jonathan and Justin out west. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. It's just Justin today. Jonathan's out traveling on this Memorial Day weekend, so we wish him safe travels. Again, we just got our technology back up, so apologies on that. We're terminal updates out here. We're still working on, you know, just getting organized and getting our trailer yard updated. We have a bunch of drivers coming in and out, so that's great. We have a great class this week, so everything's going well. Traveling and traffic this weekend with all the major holiday going on, we're going to have that uptick. So just be safe out there and make sure you're keeping that following distance and watching those people around you and slowing down, okay? That's all I have out here.
All right. Well, we appreciate that, Justin. You know, Rick and, you know, Pittston and Springfield, we've been talking about rain. How's the weather been out there? You know, typically whenever we think out west, we think a little more of that wind, and that's been a pretty big issue this year. We may have lost Justin. All right.
We're talking to Rick. Sorry. Yeah, we've had a lot of wind out here recently, but hopefully it's been calming down. We had a really bad storm last week, but it's calmed down and warmed up a bit. So everyone's going to have a great weekend this week.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. If you or anybody out there has any questions or comments, please jump in at any time as well. Okay.
Will do. Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, let's come back here to Springfield, Missouri. Good morning, everybody. Everyone must still be eating.
We have filled in, though. We filled in a lot of seats since we started, so it looks like it's picking up here. The attendance, that's good. Maybe the food's picking up, too. They're getting a little bit tired, you think?
It could be. You know, I still see a lot of folks eating out there. So, you know, again, welcome. My name is John Harden. I'm with the safety department. Dave White, also with the safety department. You know, we kind of said it at the beginning of the program here, but we really want to welcome everybody this morning. If it's your first week here at Prime, you know, we are a very open door policy company. We talk to a lot of drivers that come in, you know, maybe started their career at another carrier where, you know, they're standing at a door hitting a buzzer trying to get somebody to speak to them. And that's just about the opposite of what we want here. So, you know, please introduce yourself, build those relationships with your fleet manager, your payroll associate. Those are the lifelines of your business, the lifelines of your success. So if you have any questions, issues, comments, you know, get in front of somebody. You can come ask us. We'll get you in front of the right person. Dave, you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, you hit a good point there. You know, we got a lot of new people, but we also have a lot of drivers that leave here and go somewhere else because they think it's going to be better, and then they return back. They find out that it's not, you know, and this is the place to be. So, you know, love to have them back too as well. But just because you leave here means that you're going to guarantee your job back. If you come back, that's not necessarily true. So we will do a thorough check on you, and operations will. So will safety. So will leasing. Payroll, all the different departments, we all got to sign off that we want that individual back. So it's not a guarantee that, you know, you'll be brought back here. So think about that if you decide to leave, man. And hopefully you don't. But if you start having thoughts in your mind that maybe this isn't the place, start asking some questions. Let us know. You know, us in safety, we'll try to steer you the right way. If it's an operational issue, you have to get your fleet manager involved, and maybe a operations supervisor, one of those as well. You know, we'll get people involved and try to answer your questions and try to, you know, get those doubts out of your mind. But this is a great place to be, home for many of our drivers, and great to see everybody. And a lot of our veterans have been here, and those are the best guys and gals to ask, is the veterans, no doubt. You know, they've done it, and you know, they'll tell you, they'll steer you the right way. So what do we got next? Should we bring a new speaker up, Johnny?
Let's do that. We're going to bring up Heather Murrell from our recruiting department. Heather, it's been a little bit since you've spoken down here, so good morning and welcome back.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're good, thank you.
Good. My name's Heather Merle. I'm with Driver Recruiting, and we need referrals. We need PSDs. You know, these PSDs, they can make upwards of 100,000 in their first year. There's a path for that. If you want to train after 6 months, our most retention comes from our referrals, and they're the most likely to get hired. So, and you guys are getting paid for that. So with the referral, once that driver hauls their first load, you get $100. If they stay 30 days, you get $500. You get another $500 once they stay 6 months. You get a quarter-cent per mile for every mile they drive after 6 months. And then if 3 drivers stay 6 months, you get $1,000. Some stuff we're struggling with right now is people are applying, but they're coming in without, you know, they're submitting their application without their Class A permit. And that is critical to make the process fast. A lot of these people, like, I want to get in next week, but then you have to do your DOT physical. You got to get your Class A permit from the state that you live. So if you're referring these drivers, set them up for success and let them know we need that permit, and then you can apply. I also don't mind if you go ahead and apply without it, so I can have a file to make notes on, set reminders on. But nothing brings me more joy than somebody that says, I have my DOT physical, I have my Class A permit, and I'm ready to start. Just want to go over that really quick. You can download the CDL Prep app and study, take practice tests for combinations, air brakes, general knowledge. We do require the tanker endorsement in every division. It's not hazmat, it's just 20 questions to add the tanker. People get their feathers ruffled about that, but sometimes you're hauling liquid in your reefer. And let's see, these trainers, they can bring home roughly 2,800 weekly on average. And we're getting a lot of recent graduates. So if you run across that, we'll look at it. But we really prefer to train them here at Prime because I do believe we have the best training and trainers than any other company. So please refer people, get with your recruiter, have them apply at driveforprime.com. Your recruiter can send you a link. Does anybody have questions?
Hi.
Hi.
We spoke whenever I was last in Salt Lake City and you were
Yes.
up here. I just want to let everybody know that if you go onto the Prime app, onto the information tab, you can actually order business cards that are specific
Yes.
for you with your recruiter or general recruiting information. You can hand all this information out to drivers as you see it,
Yes.
as you meet them. It's $10 for 500 business cards. Fill it out through the app. It takes about 2 weeks to get them in, and they can be mailed directly to Prime or directly to you.
Perfect. Thank you for adding that. I actually just added a QR code on the back of mine, so it'll just go straight to me.
One more, I think we got another one over here.
Amy, Andy.
Okay, so I have one issue. So I have people getting at me through my social media,
Okay.
and I'll send them, the proper link to get over here. But they message me back saying they're not getting hired, like Prime's not hiring until fall. Or they have to have 6 months if they come in with the CDL. I'm getting like different
Yeah,
stories
so
why they can't.
it's really case by case. Really the people that are available to train a female over the road or have space, if you can get more trainers in that aspect, that's what we're struggling with. So training is huge. They make a lot of money. We need more of them. And it's limited on that specific side. So it's not that we're not hiring. We just are full in our trucks. They're all currently training, whether that be, somebody's married and they don't want their wife have a girl in the truck, it's just, we're not going to make somebody train somebody. So if you can get the word out that we do need more females and we need more females to train, that will expedite that process. And we want to get them in sooner. Anything else?
All right. Well, Heather will be around after the meeting, and come up here and see her if you want to come up with some questions. She'll be here. So thank you, Heather. Give her a round of applause. Great job. She mentioned, coming in, having your permit already. That's extremely important. Also, that tanker endorsement. And what's great about the tanker endorsement is, like she said, it's 20 questions. It's not real hard, I would say, but you can do this, but you don't have to renew it every 2 or 3 years. That stays on your license, and that's great. Like hazmat, you got to take that every 2 or 3 years. I think it's 3 years or whatever your license expires. You got to go through that whole process. That's a little bit more of a process. The tanker endorsement's not. It's one and you're done. Keep it on your license and it's with you. So,
absolutely. And one other thing that Heather talked about, usually everyone's ears perk up whenever they start talking about pay and the ability to make higher pay out there on the road. And she talked about training, and I just want to throw this out there. If you're sitting here this morning in a yellow vest, it's never too early to think about the future of your business and where you want that business to go, and being prepared to train whenever you qualify and you have the opportunity to do so. So start taking notes. You're going to see things out there that are very, very helpful to you. Maybe some things that you think, if I did this a little bit different, I think that I could teach somebody else just a little bit quicker, a little bit easier to understand. So, start making those notes, because whenever you get the opportunity to train, we would love for you to train, right? That opens up a lot of doors for you. It opens up a lot more freight opportunities for you as well, regardless of the division that you're in here at Prime. So overall, it's a very good way to make an impact on somebody's life, bringing them into the business, just like somebody's going to do with you out there. It's a very good way to make additional money, and it's a very good way to open doors, as I said, to additional freight.
Yeah, and basically, you're giving back. You're giving back to the industry. You're giving back to what you learned from somebody else, moving and providing them with guidance and how to do things, and extremely powerful. And our training program here is second to none. We got the top, no doubt. So, you're going to get hands-on. You're going to be out there on the road. You're not at a gravel lot going around in construction barrels or whatever, or backing up to fake docks. You get the real docks here, and you got a trainer with you at all times. And then when you're out there, if you need help and your trainer may be in a bunk, they may feel, hey, I'm comfortable with you going down the road. But you get in a certain situation and GPS is telling you one thing and you're thinking something else, hey, that's the time. Pull off to the side, put on your four ways, get your trainer up, say, hey, something's not right. And that's what they're there for. Every one of them wants you to be safe out there, because they don't want to have you have an accident or a negative situation out there. So that's what makes our program so much better than anybody else's. Man, you're out there with enforcement, you're out there with the four-wheelers, you're out there with, it's real life, weather conditions, you name it. And you got a person sitting next to you there that's been there and done that. So great, powerful program we have here in our training department.
Absolutely. So we're going to switch gears here a little bit. Going into the holiday weekend that we've mentioned a couple of times, we're going to bring up a couple of folks that are going to talk about maintenance, shop specifically. We've got Trent Ferris and we've got Mr. Dennis here. He's going to come up and talk about shop specifically, correct?
Yeah, good morning. So my name is Trent Ferris. This is Dennis Cantrell. Dennis is our Freightliner rep, and we're coming into a holiday weekend. So we wanted to give you guys some advice on how to prepare for that. Go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah, morning, everybody. Like you said, my name is Dennis Cantrell. I'm your on-site Freightliner rep. If you're ever here on a weekday that's not Friday, you can find me in the Z building over there by Success Leasing. If you ever need to come talk to me, that's fine. And first of all, I also want to say thank you for what you do. It is really appreciated. Our day-to-day lives would not be the way they are without you guys. So yeah, we're up on a holiday weekend, and I'm sure a bunch of you are thinking about taking your trucks to the shop. So I'm going to kind of give a little tidbits and maybe a couple pointers. I guess my first thing I would say is, unless it's absolutely necessary, breakdowns, accidents, DOT violations, those happen. Obviously you got to get that taken care of. But if it's not something that's necessary, I would actually advise on holiday weekends, regardless if it's Memorial Day, Labor Day, the big holidays of the end of the year, just kind of stick away from the shops for a couple of days, because they're going to get backed up. And like I said, obviously things happen. That's not mainly what I'm referring to. So unless it's something that's absolutely needed, I would refrain from going in. But let's say you gotta have something taken care of. I've actually sent a bunch of the stuff out to your road assist department to ponder over with you folks whenever you're calling into them. Prime shops, all the terminals have prime shops that can handle a lot of chassis related work on your trucks. And I actually checked in with all the terminals. Springfield's about 12 hours out from getting trucks into the shop. Salt Lake City's about 24. Pittston's about 36. Then Manuka's a bit smaller, so they're out till about Sunday. So that's a bit of an exception. But prime shops can get you in for chassis related work and a lot of other things as well. And so I'm kind of moving towards the dealer here. So let's say you go to the prime shop and they're like, well, you need the dealer for this. Well, all your terminals all have mobile techs on site that are provided by local dealers. I'm mainly speaking for Freightliner in general. For myself, I can't speak on the other brands, but all the terminals do have on-site Freightliner techs to assist with repairs that can be done not at the dealership itself. So you can work that out with your road assist. The prime tractor shops can help out with that. So if that's a route you can go, you can do that. And then if you got to actually go to the dealer and you can't avoid it, something to keep in mind is there's not just the direct local dealer as an option, right? Obviously here in Springfield, we got PTG Springfield, but an hour west of here, we got Premier Truck Group of Joplin, and all the terminals have another dealership about an hour to hour and a half away from them. And I know it's a bit of a drive to go get the truck maintenance, but if it's going to save you a couple days of time down, it'd be worth it. So as far as I'm concerned.
I know we have a drive to want to take the truck to the shop when we're on home time. We're walking away from the truck for a few days, so this is a convenient time to get it worked on. But a lot of these shops out there, depending on where you are in the country and where you live, they're not great options. So I really want to encourage and push you guys to try to get to Springfield to get your truck worked on if possible. This is the best place to come right here, because the dealers here in Springfield are the dealers that we buy these trucks from, and they've got a huge incentive to make sure they're taking care of us and minimizing that downtime. And of course the terminals too, like Dennis said. If it's a simple repair, the terminal is going to be the best place you can go. Okay.
And then just touch on a couple other things for whenever you're going to shops. And it doesn't really just apply to holidays, it really applies in general. So, we're going to go to the dealer. Do we think we're going to be at the dealer for a couple days? I'm going to tell you guys, man, with your fridges, I would empty your fridges. Don't leave food, don't leave medication in there. And yeah, I know we can tell the service counter, man, don't turn off the APU and stuff. And unfortunately, the fact of the matter is there's a lot of hands that your truck goes through. Things happen. Shops can't keep APUs turned on all the time, especially like wintertime whenever they're closed up, or if it is a climate controlled shop, they can't have that APU running in there for safety reasons. So I recommend emptying your fridges. Make sure you don't have any of that stuff in there, and don't leave that up to chance.
And I'll sandwich a point in there too. Also, when you're going to Walmart, go to Walmart and buy food. You'll save money and you'll eat healthier, and your body will thank you for that. But when you're going to Walmart, don't buy 30 steaks and put them in your fridge, because you never know what's coming around the bend. You never know, what kind of situation you might wind up in tomorrow. And if you have to take the truck to the shop, that food's not going to stay in the fridge, or if it does, it's going to spoil. So only buy enough food to get you through for a few days, and you can find another Walmart somewhere down the road.
Okay, and then next thing I would say is, you go in and, again, kind of depends on what your circumstance is, but man, don't go in there and tell them, man, I'm going to be on vacation for the next 2 weeks. Here's keys to my truck. Take your time, man. Don't do that. There's that, too much information, and that's information the shops don't need to know, because a lot of shops, you'll tell them I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks, and then it will be day 12 before they get your truck in, and then they realize, oops, you've got a week-long repair, so now you're going to be down for another week. So, only tell them what they really need to know on that stuff. And then we're kind of moving through the process here, but man, and I'm going to out myself here as one of these people who's got a big old gob of keys on the key ring. But man, if you've got keys like this, like me, don't give the dealer your whole set of keys. Pull off the key to your truck and give them that, because I've had I had experiences there in the dealer where just things happen. Again, I give the keys to tech goes out, somebody else gets the keys, they bring them back in. Keys can get lost, and we can replace the key to your truck. We can't replace, the keys to your locking caps. We can't replace the keys to your house or your safety deposit box. We can't replace those. So man, just give them the key to your truck only, and don't leave stuff up to chance like that. And then I think the last thing I'd kind of point out is, so we've emptied our fridge. We're going to be out on an extended leave. I would turn everything off in the truck. I'd turn your inverter off, all your electronics off, because, we've just established that the APU may not be on whenever you get back to truck. So if your APU is not on and you've got an electrical draw going on in your truck, your batteries are going to be dead whenever you get back. So if you turn everything off, you get back to the truck and you can just get in your truck, start it up, go about your day. That's going to be a lot more pleasurable experience than needing to go back in and then tell them, yeah, I need to get a jump start to get myself out of here too. So
I think dead batteries are probably your biggest threat. If you're walking away from your truck for a few days, you need to make sure you're locking it up. What I mean by locking it up is turn that power off. So turn that main power switch by your seat off. So thank you, Dennis. Anything else?
No, I think that was about all I got.
Okay. Well, I work in road assist, fleet maintenance, but there's a saying that Steve Watke likes to throw out to everyone that we all work in safety, and I buy into that. And this weekend there's going to be a lot of cars out there on the road. Gas prices and fuel prices right now are the lowest they've been in several years. So I bet there's going to be a lot of people out there driving. And I want to make sure you guys know the side of the road is one of the most dangerous places that you can be doing this job. We need to avoid it at all costs. There's very few reasons that should put you on the side of a road somewhere. But if you do wind up on the side of a highway somewhere, the first thing you should do as soon as you set your brakes, call road assist and press 1. We have an emergency line, and the main reason we have that emergency line is to help drivers out faster when they're on the side of the highway. You're 3 feet away from vehicles that are going 60, 70 miles an hour, and that is going to be a catastrophic accident if somebody's not paying attention. So call road assist, press 1 is the first thing you do, and we'll take it from there. We'll tell you guys where to set the triangles up and how to proceed from it. But we want to be aware as soon as possible to help you guys out quicker, okay? So thank you all for what you're doing. Stay safe out there this weekend. Appreciate you.
Sir, appreciate it.
Thank you, Trent and Dennis. Great information, John. And
That's a lot of great information. And, I spent the first 11 or 12 years here at Prime as a fleet manager, and I can tell you some horror stories about going on home time, hey, no hurry, just like Dennis was saying. The last thing you want to do, and one other thing I wanted to mention is, a lot of drivers are very independent and you'll kind of do the research yourself. But I used to get a lot of calls that said, hey, this part's not going to be in for X number of weeks. And, I really highly encourage you to reach out to your road assist advisor or our vendors like Dennis, because more times than not, whenever that problem gets addressed to them, that part mysteriously appears and it's readily available within the next 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever the case may be. So always reach out to your road assist advisor. They're here to help, and they do a great job.
And one last thing I wanted to throw in, Trent talked about stopping on the shoulder of the road and get out. Remember, if you stop, put those 4-ways on and get your triangles out. And the regulations say within 10 minutes, you need to get those triangles out. So you can't be a sitting duck out there. And that's an old Don Lacey term. Don was our safety director here for many years, and that's what he termed as being a sitting duck. When you're on the shoulder of the road, you can be hit. And so get out there and protect yourself, protect all of us. And but if you have a maintenance issue, get a hold of them or get a hold of your road assist advisor as soon as possible, and they'll get it addressed with you. So what do you got next for a speaker?
All right, speaking of fleet managers, we're going to bring up Brian Jackson. He's a fleet manager on a refrigerated side. So good morning, Brian.
Good morning. How are we this morning?
We're doing good. How are you?
I'm good. It's a beautiful Friday morning. I'm Brian Jackson. I am a fleet manager in the reefer division here at Prime. I think what they wanted me to talk a little bit about this morning was the camera system. Is that what we're going to talk about?
We are. So what's your take on the camera system and just your overall, with your fleet, the reactions from them?
Well, I already see some head shakes out here, so I'm going to go ahead and just step out on a limb here. How many of you all like the camera system? I want to see some hands. No?
There we go.
I like it. Thank you. So, it disappoints me a little bit, right? But I expected it. Perspective is a powerful word, right? Remember that word. So the camera system, it has its purposes. It's actually a self-help tool, okay? How many in here actively look at your Netrodyne alerts every day after your drive shift? Show of hands. Good. I like this guy right here. Why would we not be? That thing shows us, we can look at a video anytime it sends an alert to us, and we can look at a video and we can go, okay, I agree with it, I disagree with it. and you have your opinion there, right? But if we're looking at these videos every day, we're actively learning what we can do better out there on the road to prevent us from having accidents, right? This system is designed to help us become better. So our old system, right? When we had our old system, what happened? You got a critical event. What was the first thing that happened out there? Get a phone call, right? From your fleet manager saying, hey, this sensor told me you did this. I'm not there. I can't see it. I don't know really what you did. Take me through what you did. And then we had to talk about what we could do better, right? Now we have a system that we can look at these videos, you and I, and we can talk about the things we can do better on the road to prevent ourselves from having accidents. I think it's a win for everybody, in my opinion. I don't look at it as a bad thing. It's not something to negatively impact our lives. It's something to positively impact what we're doing on the road. It's teaching you things you can do differently to keep you from having accidents, right? Maybe we were following too close. Maybe we had an instance where a guy slammed on the brakes in front of us, and had we just been following a little bit less closer, it wouldn't have been as close, right? Those are all things we can actively do every day to keep us a little bit safer, right? It's not about the negative impacts of, I don't really like that this thing tells on me. That's not what it's about. I wish that people really wouldn't look at it like that. It's not telling on you. It's helping us become better at what we do. I have systems here at my desk that help me become a better fleet manager every day. It helps me with the work that I do. I don't get mad at those systems. I empower those systems to help me do my job better. And that's what the Netrodyne system is here to do. It's here to actively help us do our jobs better, safer, keep everybody out on the road safe, keep you safe, keep your business whole. Accidents cost a lot of money. Not only do they cost you a lot of money, they cost the other people out on the road a lot of money, right? That Netrodyne system is there to help us prevent those accidents from happening. So in my opinion, if you're not looking at your events every day, I encourage you to do that. You should be at the end of every drive shift, look at every video that thing took. You have the opportunity to send a message back saying, I disagree with this alert that I got. Or you can call your fleet manager and say, hey, I looked at this video today. I see that maybe I was following a little bit too close, or maybe I took that turn a little bit too fast. What could I do going forward to keep myself from having that happen, or to prevent myself from possibly rolling a truck over whenever I came into that corner a little too hot, right? That is what that system is here for us to do.
That's very well said. Yes, sir.
Hey, if they want to view them, how do they do it if they're not aware right now?
So you should be logged into your Netrodyne driver app. You guys all got those instructions whenever you got the system put in your truck. If you don't have those instructions, get with our IT department. They can send you a new email to get you logged into it. And honestly, again, it should be a part of your everyday thing. At the end of each drive shift, we should be looking at every video that thing recorded. And again, you have the opportunity to send us feedback saying, hey, I disagree with this video it took, or I disagree with this alert that it took. We'll review it. And if we disagree with it too, we'll remove it. These videos are not absolute. They're not here to get you in trouble. They're not here to tell you that you suck at doing your job. They're not here to do any of that. They are here to empower us to do better every day.
Yeah, the reason I like mine is because I use it for when I'm parking at a truck stop. Then I don't have to buy a dash cam for in case somebody hits my truck.
No.
And that's because I run out Western Regional, and hit and run seems to be a bigger deal out there than other parts of the country.
They are. Yeah, there's so many pros to this. There really is, and that's one of them.
And one thing I would like to see them do on it is giving you the ability to save the video to your computer itself, instead of just being on that app. Maybe you activating the ability to save the video to your computer. Because I know another guy that drove for another company that has the same system, and their company allows them to save the videos to their actual computer instead of the app.
Absolutely.
So that's a great point, about getting hit while you're in the sleeper berth. I couldn't tell you how many deductibles we've saved our drivers because of the camera system. Somebody backs into their truck, they realize they just hit another truck and they take off, right? So, there's actually a sensor on the truck, and we can see, I think it's called the G-force, so we can kind of look to see whenever there's a little bit of disturbance there, and we can typically go to that spot or that time, pull the video, get the information off the other tractor or trailer, and then reach out and pass it off to our subrogation team, and they're going to go after that other carrier. One thing that I do want to mention, if you ever do get hit while you're parked in a truck stop, it jolts a truck, it wakes you up. If you can think about it, if you're ever in any kind of an accident, anybody ever hits you or anything, and you're able to, it's safe to do so, hit that button on the bottom of the camera as soon as you can, because that'll give us a time reference to go back and pull those videos. So that really helps us out a lot whenever we go through and we're pulling videos and we're trying to save you that deductible like this gentleman's talking about.
Hey, Brian, I got a question for you. How many business partners do you have on your board right now?
Just a little under 100.
So around 100 operators. You seem to have a vested interest in this. Could you explain?
Absolutely do. I want every one of the operators that I work with to be successful. And again, accidents cost money. They cost you time, they cost you downtime, they cost a lot of money, right? And this system, again, helps us to become better drivers out there. It helps us to do our job a little bit safer. It shows us the things that we might not see in the moment, but when we go back and we look at it from hindsight, we go, okay, I see what I did wrong there, right? This system is designed to keep you all whole as operators. I know you guys aren't all out here doing this for the fun of it or out here doing it to possibly lose everything you have, right? So this system, honestly, is one of the most powerful tools that I think that I've ever seen here to help us become better at what we do. There's so many opportunities out there every mile that you run every day to make a mistake. Why not utilize a system and be excited about a system that can show us how to do our job better? Like I said, perspective is a powerful word. And if we can shift our perspective from something that is negative to see all the pros to it and see the positives to this tool, I promise you this system will become so much more powerful in your everyday lives and your operations of your business. It really will.
John, we have a question.
Okay.
Hey, John. I have a question about the button, and I've really never had it truly explained. I called IT, and I got a couple of questions, but is there a time limit on how long you have to hold the button down, and how far does it go back? And somebody told me, like, if you get pulled over, you can push that button for your safety or whatever. And so basically, how far does it go back? How long does it record? And how long do you have to hold it down? But yeah, I did review a video of me driving, and I looked ridiculous. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's definitely helped me.
All right. Well, good question. And, we don't care how you look whenever you're driving, as long as you're being safe out there, right? So whenever you hit that button on your camera, I don't think that there's any amount of time you have to hold it down for it to take effect. You just need to hit that button, and that'll mark the hour and minute, okay, of an event or something that you feel like we need to be able to look at. So the way it works is whenever there's a video that we need to see, we reach out to Netronine and we request videos from around that time frame, and they're in 1 minute increments. So those are the videos that Dave and Bill and Rick and that we all watch, are in 1 minute increments. So, we can save those videos. This gentleman talked about downloading to your own computer. We don't want to do that, for obvious reasons, with today's day and age with social media and things getting, put out there that don't need to be. But once you hit that video, if the video needs to be saved, we've got that saved here on our side. But just the fact of hitting that really helps out a lot, because I'll give you an example. This morning, I had a call where a driver said, hey, my truck got hit. I said, okay, well, let's see, let's take a look, see if we can figure out when it got hit. When did it get hit? He said, well, sometime between 6 p.m. yesterday and right now. And I said, okay, well, if you take 60-minute videos times the number of hours that entailed, that's a lot of videos to go through. So that's why it's important to hit that button so we know kind of where to start.
But you can go back and look 30 seconds ahead of before you push the button.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Okay, thank you.
We can. So does anybody else have any questions for Brian while he's up here? Brian, I know that it's a Friday morning, and as a former fleet manager, you're probably just twitching a little bit, thinking about all the things you need to be doing. So we appreciate you being down here, but we'll let you get back to it.
Thank you, buddy.
Let's give Brian a round of applause.
You know, John, Brian asked me, it's his turn to come down here. He goes, what do you want me to talk about? I go, I don't know, talk about the cameras, good, bad, or indifferent, whatever, and so that's what it is from a fleet manager's perspective. And that is interesting, what he says, he's spot on. I think many times they do a better job explaining it than what we do in safety.
They do. I mean, they're on the phones with the drivers all day, every day. And I can just personally tell you that they've really got their thumb on the pulse of what's going on, and they're great resources to talk to about these events.
Yes, no doubt. So if you want to talk to Brian afterwards, or he may be back up at his desk, but yeah, or go see your fleet manager too and talk to them, and definitely download that Driver Eye app. I had a driver at my desk just yesterday. He'd been here almost 10 years, wasn't a fan of the camera. And so I said, well, do you got that Driver Eye app downloaded? He goes, no, I don't want to see that. And I said, why not? Because any video you get, we're going to see it in safety, and so is your fleet manager. How are you going to know if maybe it's one you need to contest, you don't agree with? If you don't agree with it, there's an option on there to have us review it. And we got a couple people in safety. That's what they do. They review those videos and they come up with a determination, and then the driver can talk to them. It's what happened and why you don't agree with it, and that's okay. That's what we want. We want to this open door here. Transparency is number one, and that camera gives you an option to be transparent. If you don't agree with something, push that button, or not push the button, but select that feature on there. If you get a video that, hey, you want safety to relook at it again, we'll relook. Sometimes, John, we've seen it where, you may have a coat over your seatbelt and may say you're not wearing your seatbelt. Well, we can see the seatbelt going over the shoulder, going down. Yeah, we'll remove that. That's not a problem. And we do that. We do that every day here. So, and there's other situations that come up. But yeah, if you don't want something on your record, that's the best way to do it. If you don't have the Driver Eye app, you can't contest it. So get that downloaded. That's extremely important.
Well, let's bring up Brendan here in our log department. Brendan, Dave stuck you down here at the bottom of the order, so let's blame him for that. But good morning.
Good morning, and that's okay. I don't mind being at the end. Last week, as you all know, was the DOT Blitz, so I do want to talk about what we saw in the log department in terms of write-ups for last week. Of course, we did see several write-ups for HOS violations and failure to certify, and this is something that we've talked about at prior meetings. But today, what I really want to focus on is the false record of duty status while driving. So there's a few ways that this could happen. The first is, of course, personal conveyance misuse. But really, I want to focus on two other ways we're seeing this occur. The first is not properly attaching to your vehicle. So whenever you get logged into your geotab unit, you'll need to make sure to go into your dashboard and select vehicle. That's where you can plug in your truck number. We are seeing quite a few drivers, particularly coming out of the shop, forgetting to reattach to that vehicle. This results in a lot of unassigned driving. And unfortunately could lead to being written up during an inspection. We saw a driver who was placed out of service for this last week. Also, not properly changing the active driver. So I'm looking at my teams for this one in particular. If you're looking at your HOS screen in the Geo tab, you'll see a name at the top. Please be warned that the name showing at the top is not necessarily the active driver. That's just indicating the active user. It's the set of logs that you're viewing. In order to check the active driver, you'll need to make sure that the steering wheel icon in particular is showing next to the correct name. So whenever you're switching shifts, make sure to touch the name at the top and verify that the steering wheel icon is next to the right person. Now, we understand that mistakes happen, right? Taking off on your co-driver's log, unfortunately, will happen at some point in your career. It's important that we catch this and we get it resolved before DOT catches it. So the moment you realize that you're driving on your co-driver's log, find a safe place to stop, verify all the logs, and contact your log person immediately so we can get that taken care of. All right, with that, do we have any questions or concerns regarding what I just discussed or anything else log related? All right.
They're letting you off easy this morning.
I
so.
know.
All right, well,
you,
let's give
Brendan.
Brendan a round of applause. Great information, Brendan. We appreciate it. So she mentioned inspections. You did the inspections this week.
I
How'd they
did
look?
161 of those inspections, and we had 104 clean, so a 65% clean rate. Not as high as what we'd like. We paid out $8,975 too as well, paid out for clean inspections. But hopefully we'll see a higher percent number next week on the clean ones because they're still coming in from the 72-hour blitz. Just a couple of interesting ones. I saw a couple of windshield washer fluid not having any in your truck or in your reservoir. That being written up a couple of times. We don't see those very often, and that is a violation. Also, not having chains out in Colorado out on 70 going west. They still till May 31st, Colorado still has their chain law in effect. Even though we're not thinking that right now, but you get out there, you may still encounter some snow and ice up in the higher elevations. So a couple of those, but overall not too bad. But we just, hopefully next week we get that percent up, Johnny.
Absolutely. And, not having any windshield wiper fluid, that sounds like kind of a reach, but, it is a safety issue, but kind of makes you shake your head a little bit. But, well, we appreciate that, Dave. I wanted to talk about the Prime app a little bit. That's another valuable tool with your business out there. If you're not familiar with it, if you're new to Prime, if you're like me, if you're a little bit old, not exactly technology savvy, if you have questions, if you're here in Springfield, come right over here and talk to Richard and Brianne. They are the experts. They can answer any question you have. If you're out on the road at another terminal, reach out to Dave or I. We'll get you in contact with them as well.
All right, moving on. Who we got next?
We're going to bring up Steve Wucky this morning. Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Thanks very much. I appreciate it. We have had a really good meeting, and I'd like to just have a shout out for Brian Jackson and his peers that are fleet managers, your business partners, if you will. Man, these guys, they know their business very well. And I hope all of you take the time to meet your fleet manager face to face. And I hope when you come to Springfield, you take time to go by and chat with them. They're extremely good at what they do. They are aligned with your success. Everything they do is to help you all be successful. It's in their best interest. We're all kind of incentivized to the same thing. So please, as new operators, you new folks, when you get assigned, take time to meet your fleet manager. Whether you're a lead seat or whether you're a co-driver, get to know your fleet manager. Don't be a victim, okay? And they are the umbilical cord to your success here at Prime. Appreciate everything you all are doing. We got a holiday weekend, Memorial Day, but we remember our veterans every Friday, and we're going to do that right now. So if you've served in the armed forces for our country, would you please stand up and be recognized? We'd like to thank you and appreciate all you've done for us. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. So on the sales side, I'll tell you, we're seeing a pickup in our load count every week. We're making progress, not as quickly as we want, but we're seeing an increase in the load count weekly. So please understand, it's been a bit of a struggle for everyone. We know that, but we're certainly winning. We're seeing the new awards that we've got through the bids these past couple of months come to fruition, which is a great thing for us, a great thing for you all. So I want to thank you very much for what you're doing. As you get through this holiday weekend, please, those of you out there, if you get where you want to be and have an extra day or so, please protect yourself, protect your load, and enjoy the time that you have with your family if you get by your family. I want to thank you again for everything you do, and then I'll bring up the president of our company, Daryl Hopkins, and thank you so much for everything you do. You do it better than anybody else in the country. Appreciate y'all. Daryl?
Thanks, Steve. I hope what you got out of this meeting and what you get out of all these meetings is that Prime cares about you. We really want you to be successful in all aspects of your life. And that's why we cover so many different topics. But first and foremost, this is a safety meeting. I love what Brian said. He nailed it. All this safety equipment, it's a tool. It's just a tool to help you guys be better. Because at the end of the day, there is nothing that has a bigger impact on safety than an alert driver who's not distracted and who's making good decisions. No amount of safety equipment overrides that. And that's not easy. It's a challenge because all it takes is a few seconds of looking at something, trying to find something, of my eyes just need to close for just a second, and it changes your entire life because of an accident. This is not an easy profession. You literally have to be alert all the time. When you're behind that wheel, you don't get a break. You need a break, you need to pull over, but not when you're behind that wheel. And you make the difference, not the equipment. The equipment is fantastic. It does great things, but you make the difference. So please remember that. We're going into a holiday weekend. There's a ton of traffic. Be focused. You'll make the difference in your life. Let's bring up Robert Lowe and let us close us out.
Thanks, Daryl. You know, Daryl's saying some good stuff there. I wasn't sure he had it in him, but man, you know, once in a while he comes up with something intelligent. So proud of you, Daryl. Thanks for stepping up. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody has a great holiday weekend. You're fantastic. You know, Steve didn't really harp on it very long. He didn't like to brag on himself, but he is the best sales guy in the industry. You know, not just in free, but in this industry. This guy right here is a superstar, and we've fought our way through these hard times. But as good as Steve is, it's your service that has gotten us through. You know, hitting those OTIF deliveries, so important. You know, nobody can match what we do for the customer. You know, nobody can do that, you know, 98.5, 99+ % on time. I mean, that is special. And with all the obstacles, the traffic, the weather, everything you put up with out there to get it done 99% on time, that is phenomenal. And I want to, at this holiday time, I want to thank you for what you do. You do fantastic. God bless each of you, and please be safe out there.